you, this new moon is landing in your first house of your personal self. Happy birthday to you. Remember those infinite, unlimited possibilities that the universe is going to open the door to for your future. So this new moon is a transition for your thinking from what you want to be to who you want to be. Thoughts. So there is a bright light in your future. It's available for you to open that door if you are brave and bold enough to dream it, manifest it, believe it, and literally be it. Those are only a few steps to your paradise. You may even call it faking it until you make it, or you could utilize this energy to see that it's never too soon or too late to be the person you've always wanted to be and who you are meant to be. What you be is what comes.
Inshallah and Ashe. Changed it up a little bit this morning. Blessings to you. It's a fantastic freaking Friday. And of course, it's Irish Pub Day, St. Patrick's Day. I got my green going on. I guess I could have made my little 4-leaf clovers a little brighter, but they really did go with the fun and the sun. Going green, anybody? So while I'm waiting for people to hop on to the live stream, join us for our show, listen or tune into the replay, taking a breath, a moment for the pause, and being in the point or the zero, the zone of neutrality. So how was your direct connection to the oneness yesterday? Are you still in divine connection today? I sure hope so. Any prophetic messages or dreams? Signs from the universe, dreams. The sun rises in the east and it shines everywhere. It sets in the west. The sun naturally belongs wherever it's shining. And today is a day of a bright, illuminated sun. The sun is shining light, showing us where we may dedicate some time to our sacred calling, our sacred heart, creating energy to feel open and ready to really determine what is the next step in your spiritual chapter, your spiritual future. So are you opening up or signing up for a class on spirituality, becoming a spiritual educator, a teacher, or creating a spirit shrine where you go to spirit on the daily or the weekly to communicate what is happening on the earth plane? There's all kinds of spiritual practices that we could tune into, whether it's chanting, singing, drumming, community. So all the things that we have been releasing during the season of Pisces, all the things connected to this moment now brings us to Greece, if you will, hopelessly devoted. What are we heartfelt devoted to in our spiritual corridor? That part of our chalice where we are in divine connection. So it's like being devoted to a spiritual practice. Maybe you're learning a spiritual practice. Maybe we're ebbing into partnership with spirit in relations. We're anchoring in this relationship with the universe, God universe, the oneness source, dreams, literally navigating dream space. So the goddess of the night is in the season of Aquarius, our emotional field, which is tuning into where we belong with spirit and where we no longer spiritually belong. Things are changing, transforming. We're in a season We're in a season of transformation and change. Maybe you have outgrown your spiritual practice or those exercises, and now the universe is showing you where you need to devote more time to, where you should open up to. So with that, welcome to the Daily Snippet. I am your host. I'm a practicing holistic shaman, medium, an otherworldly life coach, and a subtle energetic surgeon, a reflector by design. I do go by the term holistic shaman medium, which is a merging or a choreography of them all. My intention is to utilize the indigenous technologies, the elemental, the imaginal realms, our original divine blueprint, navigating our soul's harmonic through these realms, dimensions, portals, gateways, if you will, the cosmos, with offerings, prescriptions, and rituals. I usually get notice in my dream time, the otherworldly kind, to really add to the juice of your main stage container. The origins, rituals, are food for our soul, food for the origin, our personal medicine, our prime directive, our gift, and our purpose, to really kind of seal the deal, if you will, so that our light shines ever so much brighter, our starlight. My name again is Tonya D, and welcome to my virtual medicine room. And if you have yet to subscribe to my channels, please do. YouTube, Tonya D, or Musing with Tonya D, my podcast. You can find that on Apple, Spotify, and my website. But we are in this spiritual connection, the divine operator. So thanks for sharing my show yesterday, The Holy Shift. It really was a holy shifting show. Sacred geometry in a way, the fluidity of prophetic visions and insights. So emotional empathy, the auric field, our astral field, I prefer the etheric highway myself, just saying. That's kind of where I do most of my work. We do go from this double whammy of being a conduit for divine connection to taking that energy and being a force. Degenerative and generative forces, the power pathway, the commanding of forces. What forces are you ready or choosing to command? It's like the divine overpour, the divine pour is at this cosmic divine round table. But before I go any further, let's give a shout out to all the new peeps entering the village, the community, a validation. I always like to give a voice of acknowledgement, knowing that you are seen, my friends. New friends arriving and guests arriving to the show, new subscribers. I just want to send out a blessings and a gratitude. And of course, those of you that have been on my journey, my show since the beginning. Things are always changing. It really does take a community, a village, a tribe. And we all have a gift and a purpose, like we all do. It'd be boring. Our world would be boring if we were all the same, let's be honest. And just again, gratitude and blessings. Thanks for joining in. And those of you that do tune into the replay, I do see you as well. And if you don't mind, of course, hitting the bell button along with the white rabbit, that would be awesome. There's a difference between the white rabbit and the other colors, by the way. Of course there is, right? And a comment if you feel you are in need of a message. Sharing is just another way of paying it forward. And you can also find me, of course, on other social channels, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and others. Just remember, I am your otherworldly shamanic reflecting assistant. You truly are your own healer. But sometimes we do need an otherworldly life coach to assist us, to get us out of our own magical way, to be the star that we are, myself included. And the daily snippet. What is this all about? Well, it really is about the cosmic insights, the planets, the other world. By design, I follow the lunar energies of the moon through the seasons and the gates. The moon, navigating through the season of spirit, is a very different flavor than the moon, just as an example. The moon is water. It's a yin energies, and Pisces is also water. So it's the spirit energy at the moment. The fluidity of the moon, I feel, through each season is very different as it goes through even these activated gates. So I've been musing and percolating and doing all these things with that. So if there's any reflectors listening in, comment and also let me know. But the elementals, the 4 pillars, I really utilize these more for healing. Useful elements versus unuseful, directions in space, the environment, nature, along with the subtle energies, our energy centers, the chakras. I usually sometimes bring in the channels, the path, the meridians as well, not just the activated gates in human design, and the auric fields. So there's a lot that happens for me. But with that, many blessings to you, my friends. Are you really devoted to spirit? Wherever you are in relational to the realm of spirit, it's time to commit to a future relationship, being a conduit, being in divine connection. I kind of feel like that's why the experience happened, was because we'd lost divine connection. And the universe has been unpacking the gifts over the last few days or few years. Hopefully you've been able to unpack them as well. Just noticing, or maybe you're aware of how marvelous or how frickin' fantastic this omnipresence energy is, and your own newfound ability to be the spiritual being that you have always been. Your light is on, your star is shining, and the universe has always known your gift and purpose. Now it's time that you know, right? So what is it that you are going to create with all of these gifts? So we are all our own creators, a creator being in co-creation with this creator energy, vibration, frequency that we've all been waiting for. So no matter what it is that you decide your spiritual practice, exercises, spiritual future looks like, or where you're navigating that, How to express your color, your light, your gift, and your purpose is unique and individual to you, being in the flow with our kinesthetic gifts. Empathy channels, emotional, physical, mental clarity, relational, the earth star. We have all these opportunities. It's just some of them light up differently for each and every one of us, and some are on all 24/7. That's like your light star. But we are all the captain of our own ship, your own experience, what that looks like. So, are you ready to be the guiding light of your own star story, your higher self, seeing things through the eyes, maybe instead of God, of your higher self? Are there any things or beings that need to come aboard your spiritual spaceship or your ship, the future waves? What directions are you guiding your ship? What direction are you going to navigate? So during the entire season of Pisces, we have been working on sacred waters, the element of water, our relationship to water, along with nature, being authentic to our spirit, our transformation, being a conduit for change and authenticity, spiritual truths, being in the flow of water. It takes time to really take control of the ship that we're all navigating through the storms, with the direct wisdom, ancient wisdom that we have possibly gained through time and space. So we have all of these things. And hang on one second. There's my comment thing. There we go. So really being creative as we sell these waters. Unfamiliar, like what are we selling into? What are we even navigating in? What does it even look like? It's up to us. You do you. It's up to each and every one of us individually to choose our navigation tool. We kind of have this kaleidoscope of energy, so really going deep into those waters when you are considering decisions, intuitively receiving thoughts, telepathy. Our root channel, the physical empathy, is also receiving otherworldly physical communications. So all of them are serving the other. They're in service of allowing our heart center to lead us towards new wonders of the world, possibilities, even probabilities. As decisions become more clear, more fluid, and we hone in on an aligned outcome that our heart and our solar plexus are showing us at this round table, if you will. So as we are leading with a very heart sound, felt choice, that can really move us forward. What is the beating of your own heart's drum? That feeling may have come in for you, or maybe it's landed already upon the terra firma, the earth space, the earth plane, just feeling under pressure, the weight of the world, God Atlas, the world on our shoulders, feeling weighted. So the energy of the past is nudging us to be different in this moment, in the present. The key to access winning the day over is to focus on what is directly in front of us or upon us, only taking responsibility for what is possible in the moment, in the now. So it's in the spiritualating, I like that word, spiritualating moment that we decide, commit to a future path that mirrors, the etheric mirrors, compassion, spiritual values, a heartfelt direction, a Merlin, the Merlin effect, a nomadic explorer of spirit, an inspirited leader, the medicine person of the tribe, the shaman. No matter how humdrum, earthly, routine that all these opportunities may appear, this is our chance to really incorporate spiritual wisdom, innate wisdom, ancient wisdom, values into our future choices, the ones we are making for our future life. Escalating, going in the escalator. Also, you may notice it's a magical moment to end certain patterns that you've been prescribed in your life, the ones that you have been so caught up in, especially with the environment, the world, outside and around us. The patterns that often involve environment, including society, groups of people, big picture plans of our future. Our committed heart, our relational channel, may end up in a destiny where we were once headed for, and we do a course correction. And at the same time, simultaneously, it's like we're getting a boost, opening the door for a fate, possibly that you have never imagined possible. So with that, just a few announcements. I'm pretty excited about the weekend and the energy here. I do have a new podcast episode that landed yesterday, Musing with Tonya D. Listen again on Spotify, Apple, or just go to my website, tonyad.tv. Are you ready to access your genetic shit show? Stephanie Cerrone, what a beautiful soul. You're going to love her. Diving into the epigenetics, the divine feminine, healing the feminine wounds, if you will. And if you're curious or at least interested in being a mystery guest for the Sunday Four Pillars and the Rising of the Origins, my private group on Facebook, be sure to join or comment and I'll send you the link. But I am looking into other options to actually create a community, a village, other than Facebook, by the way, just for other reasons. But the new moon meditation is also on the highway. We're recalibrating the root center, our ego, our actions, and our character. We're setting boundaries around who we are and who are we being? Who am I being? So that's kind of the focus there, along with something else. But we're having this adventure of a lifetime, Mongolia. If that's calling out to you, Magic in the Mountains. This is Indigenous, August of 2023, traveling with 6 Indigenous medicine people, being travelers, not tourists, going Indigenous, shamans. This is the rising of our origins, being authentic, being in nature, and connecting with those spirits of not just nature, but the land and all the things. So much. So if you're interested in that, space is very limited. Time to join really ends, I believe, the end of May, but don't hold me accountable for that. But I believe it's the end of May, or at least allowing yourself to be committed by then. And also, because I'm really quite hilarious, you might not realize that, but I'm actually pretty funny. We do have Ostara on the new moon. How hilarious am I? My son's Earth return day is on the spring equinox. And I've really been futuring through time and space, the Merlin effect. It's really hard for me to know what dimension I'm in lately, a little topsy-turvetish, being otherworldly, nomadic, journeying like the journeyman. But I have a show for Sunday for Ostara. Be sure to check that out. I also will probably be sharing that on other social channels, or at least a link to tune in. But I did add a meditation at the end of that to really rein in the spring equinox, options for ritual. It kind of reminds me of my mother. She always decorated for the seasons, and it's almost like, oh my God, my mom was doing constant ritual, and how naive of me not to recognize that until this moment. Like, it's a thing. Every season there was a ritual she really did where I follow the moon. So it's been a really eye-opening kind of childlike wonder thing. And my mom's in the ancestor realm, so I communicate with her differently now. So that's kind of a lot. But for today on the elemental highway, what do we have? Here we have a young wood dog of a day, a Jia Xu. Say that 5 times. Just kidding. This is loyal. It's a loyal transformation of a dog. The dog, loyalty. Dogs are loyal, right? Young earth, big mountain. Go to the mountain. Tell your dog the secrets today. Yeah. Young wood, that's actually forward thinking. It's pioneering, revolutionary energy, if you will. Determined, it's initiating, it's leading. Just remember, of all the day masters, young wood needs all of the elements for survival. The sun to shine, the earth to root into, the waters for nourishment, minerals or metal for pruning, and to be surrounded by nature, friends, all of nature, the tree of life. That's what I see when I see young wood, the energy of the village who comes to the spiritual tree of life. So our day does need fire. We do have yin fire in storage in the dog. And yeah, the dog. So if you have horse or the tiger with the dog energy, that creates a fire trine, the trinity. So the fire energy is more spiritually escalated, I would say. But our deities does need fire to shine light upon something. Source, spirit, dreams, all that yin wood is actually competition to our day, the energy of our day, people or our surroundings, picking us apart, kind of growing on us like overwhelming vines, if you will. And the sustenance that we need in the yin water, it's kind of far away. We're not really able to get to it. because these competitors are absorbing it all. I would really take a breath and a pause and stand outside the village on this one. I'm just saying, because in the other world, you have more beings that you can connect with. So that's kind of what I would suggest as a ritual. It would be going to moving waters, calm moving waters, yin water, building a fire. Be by your inspirited self in this realm, knowing that you have an entire spirit team, a village with you, just in the unseen, as you sit by the fire by a stream and have those inspirited conversations with the otherworldly beings. I mean, that is what I tend to do. I prefer the otherworldly beings, not going to lie. The ones that come out at night, they're not so dimensioned into the 3D world. It's kind of like Snow White, Maleficent in the forest. So that's kind of the frequency of the energy of today, the foe. Just be gentle, be kind. That's the energy of wood. I do obviously have a message for the weekend. I'm excited for tomorrow's energy, just saying. But our message today comes from the King of Wands, fire, spirit, raw, wild energy. But the king, this is a pure force, a majestic king. I would say it's Maleficent's king, the holder of a staff, a scepter. Like a bunch of torches, a lighthouse of fire and light. Otherworldly, perhaps, he himself is the guiding light. He's illuminating that blazing fire within. It's like the sun is illuminating all that yellow solar plexus kind of energy. And the fire, the orange, the sacral. There's other colors in there too, and spiralings and whatnot. And the red, I don't know if you can see the crown of his forehead. But he's holding his staff, his scepter. It's a source of light to shine the path, easily guiding us to the next step. And the ground is shaking. It's alerting the forest, the beings of the forest, the beings in the unseen, the dwellers, that he's on his way and to make move, like he's flowing through there. And the surroundings are changing gradually. I'm just saying, like, how nature transforms, and it's things hidden under the dirt, right? But silently, just these little beings, unspoken beings, they're just paying attention as he's commanding his will. He's a powerful king. The energy of him, it's charismatic. It's the force of this charm. It's irresistible, possessing undeniable charisma, which is why everything changes according to his wishes and just people bow to his will, the energy of the king. The kind, it's a source of inspiration, wearing a dreamy cloak of power, if you will, never feeling constrained by this because he was born with this innate authority, this leadership ability. That's his innate nature. And it's burned within him. It's a steady flow of blood throughout his body. And then it becomes ingrained over time and space into the flesh, the earth. But his voice withering whatever he is noticing, and his soul being a lion, like a lioness, a proud lion, fierce, dominating, never afraid to chase what he wants. He acts with this confidence, power. It's this elegance of the beast. I guess if you were to watch a lion prowl through the jungle on his own accord, but the king being bold, he's not hesitating to seize opportunities, especially on his way to new challenges, risky paths ahead, which is exciting. But the energy of the king is about wisdom, responsibility, charm, being inspired or being inspiration, motivation, being ambitious. It's also our intellect and being mature, independence, but it's more about energetic excitement and passion and just majestic, maybe being a performer, optimism, being generous, encouraging, creativity. So it's all of those kinds of energies. It's associated with the season or the sign of Sagittarius. So it's this masculine, adventurous kind of energy and source and open to being adventurous. So if you're a male, this might represent you or an important man in your life. So we have the ability to possess this positive, optimistic energy of leadership and wisdom. And if you are a woman, you may soon receive a piece of helpful advice from an influential man or a person of masculinity. Could be a boss, a boyfriend, a father, could be a mentor, somebody you mentor, somebody from the other side. I'm thinking of Maladoma. This is a strong passion in our forecast. So as we sail these spiritual seas, the ocean, full of confidence and desire to be on the spiritual walk of fame, the center of the divine attention and the oneness. We've got this connection, which is powerful, majestic. Wealth, which is very different on the other side than wealth here, by the way. Duh. That this creativity, this intelligence is within each and every one of us, and we have many ideas and possessing the power to really turn these tables, turning the table. So hold your faith firmly, fight to the end to protect it as you're navigating the storms or navigating your spiritual affluence, if you will. There's strong points, there's weak points, and we each have our own opinion, our own perspective, but protect it. Be strong in your protection. Inadvertently, we become an authoritarian, we become on fire. So being otherworldly, I like to see it as messages from the other world streaming in. However, it's also advisable to kind of avoid arguments, being controversial, just having different opinions. Often it causes serious emotional harm to self sometimes and others. So just be in a space of mutual reception. Sometimes I find the sound of silence is actually the best message in conversation, especially if the other party just wishes or wants to hear their own voice of themselves, kind of rambling on. They're not going to hear what you have to say anyway. They have their own agenda. It's easier to sometimes just smile and walk away, be patient, say nothing. However, of course, today I did have another message flip out of the cards, fly out. So here we are. This one actually just flipped over while I was flipping the cards. So I thought, no, what the hell? So here we are. This is the Four of Pentacles. Got some juice there. I don't know if you can see, but it's the four, the Uranian energy. And who doesn't love some Uranian energy? I know I do. But I have it in my first house, so it's very connected to my rising. So it just flows with me to be kind of innovative and rebellious. I guess I'm seen as a rebeller. The moon in Aquarius. So it's kind of prophetic. So where do we no longer belong, and what are we law of attracting? What is the frequency we're frequenting? And what is that frequency? It's taking form. Uranus is in Taurus. The moon is in Aquarius. So that energy is peaking quite on, especially with this card. So are we ready for a more euphoric world, a utopian world, life-sustaining, not life-negating? The dragon is cautious, irritable, slowly relaxing its body. I don't know if you can see the dragon in this message here, but it's curling itself around the bounty of its treasure, and it's actually struggled to accumulate this treasure. So it's spending countless hours and lives to collect this huge, massive bounty, the treasure, and not allowing anyone to touch it. No one dares to touch it either. Hissing an unfriendly warning, even to the tiniest of little relatives that gather to see. So the relatives to the dragon would be the salamanders, the lizards, fire, just running out, moving as quickly as possible before this wickedly crazy old dragon rages out at them, attacking everybody it can see. But the Four of Pentacles, it embodies a spirit of high possessiveness, one that always wants everything under control, wanting and needing, right? Different. The result is living in weakness, loneliness, struggling in this prison that he's created all by himself, not liking it, thinking that it never needs to change, which is stagnant, creating obstacles in the river of denial, chained by limiting things or thoughts, one who lives in misery, if you will. But it's a message of liberation, learning to give up on selfishness, which may bring more happiness. Wouldn't that be nice? More than what we may have collected or tried to protect for forever in time. It doesn't cost money to be happy, right? But this is about possession. It's about control, greediness, limitation, rule, order, stagnation, hard work, ownership, being a directive, your prime directive. It's also about learning and investment and being so deep rooted in a belief. But it's also a warning, gifts and inheritance. It's kind of that sink or swim kind of energy. But it can also be a message representing the will to keep things, people, money, or circumstances to all stay the same, which never happens. So it's a sign that we need to be very careful and consider whether we are constantly clinging to something, possibly the past, or whether we are involved in something very unhealthy. It could also be a sign that the querent, whoever's tuning in, that this resonates with, maybe you're having concerns or worries about money in general, or maybe you're getting involved in something that makes you feel insecure. So the key point is to just be aware of it. In this case, it could be anxiety or fear that doesn't bring you to feel safe and secure embodied in your body. It's the old saying, if you love something, set it free. That's exactly what we should do. Forget about the fear or the worry. Allow it to be set free. But it's a card of possession and receiving this. So is there something you are trying to keep? You're hanging on to? Are you trying to keep something regardless of whether it's good or bad? But maybe you're determined to just not give up. And it's also about hoarding, the act of hoarding. If you've received something and you decide you don't want to share it with anybody, you don't want to dispose of them, even if they're no longer valid. But really the message is maybe you've tried to manage yourself. Maybe you've tried to manage yourself and your money with creating success, knowing you've worked very hard, ensuring your future, and everything somehow makes others outside of you, makes them see you as being greedy or an authoritarian. But it's kind of like unfamiliar territory, and it makes sense, really. You're just gravitating to always kind of having a knowingness that your success is always maintained. Some people kind of hide their success and keep it hidden when they need to let it shine. So just really seeing how far you've come and see how far you are moving forward. So with all the yin wood energy, which is competitors, the world outside of us today may feel like they're competing for what we have. Meditate on your decisions and place them before you on your heavenly altar, if you will. Ultimately choosing the path that you feel your heart opening up like a lotus. That's the easiest path. So if you're feeling uncertain, really taking a breath and a pause and wait. Take a pause point. Wait to commit. Wait to decide. There's no rush. Wait 30 days. Just saying. The path is one we're able to devote time and space to. One that is future leading, embodying our faith, our heartfelt compassion to our heart's highest good, the glory of the heart. So you may also be making a commitment to a literal, figuratively path, something that you've set before yourself, a vision for what that future life you're wanting it to look like, living by heartfelt faith, living in the heart, creating a life to live without judgment or self-sabotage. Whatever you choose, the InSpirited life that you commit to will be the one we practice over the course of the upcoming year until we return to this pause point, if you will, this upcycled space, renewing spiritual vows, maybe an updated spiritual vow up until a year from now. So may the force be with you, blessing you and guiding you. It's time to really embrace life, living it to the fullest by our own terms, by design. Our self-love, the love we have for ourselves, is something to share with ourselves today, but be sure to drink it up, drinking in the waters that you have sent out today vibrationally. Those sustaining vibrational waters bring forth our gift and our purpose. So what is your heart sensing today with all of this optimistic feeling overflowing? It's time to love others boldly like nothing before. Kind of reminds me of Star Trek, going boldly to the forces of where we've never been, or possibly we've been and we're returning. But the love, it always circles back. It's the love that we overpour in kindness becomes returned tenfold. So I'd say drink up, buttercup, take a breath and a pause, drink from the oneness. It's time to be devoted to our heart, our spiritual heart, through the heart center, relational through the heart, to the God spot, to the oneness field, to our soul's gift and purpose. But I would affirm on this St. Patty's Day that I am choosing the divine alignment to my soul's content or my soul's gift and purpose options. So really being authentic in your design, our heart knows our innate gifts and talents. It's time that you do as well. But now that we are at the end of the show, not really, I have 2 messages for my musers. Candy Rocks, thanks for sharing yesterday's message and spiritual insights. I appreciate that. And my Mongolian sister from 2018. I got something for you as well, because, you know, that's what we got to do when they start flying at me. So for my Mongolian sister, oh boy, hitting the phone there, phone going off. I hate that when that happens. Not my favorite. But the moon, the 18. I love that the moon showed up. Our emotional field, the astral plane and field. Lots of insight here. The 18. What are you able to commit to in your heart with emotion? When you're able to commit with feeling, your heart is online, aligned with it. It's time to initiate the action to take. Emotions carry more vibration and energy, I think. They're a force field, right? But being that the moon is in the season of Aquarius on this day, are you attracting a feeling that your heart is vibrating with in heart alignment, attuned, and resonating? The sun's eyes are slowly closing on this moon. This is a beautiful card. I don't know if you can see all the imagery in it. There's a lot happening in it, but we've got some intense sunlight that spreads throughout the world and it fades away. It's turning off. It's the horizon and the sunset, right? So the time's come for the moon to actually emerge, taking over half of the world. It's kind of reminding me of Stonehenge with all those trees in the background there. But there's a magic circle of mushrooms, and there's goblins glowing below as well, emitting those soft waves. I don't know if you can see the silver light, which is protection. So at the time, there's this transference when the twilight then becomes more and more brilliant. It's uniting with the beings of the night, lighting up the road for the fairy queen, which I love because myself, I got the moon in the third house. That is like the high priestess house, if you don't know. But it's in the night when these other worlds experiences their daytime reverie. They echo in the wind. They have these magical, lovely voices, the candomblé, the voices of poetry. And they sing the joy and the juice that she is coming. This fairy queen has like entered the scene. They're excited. They go crazy. They dart and they dash through the forest. This energy today really does remind me of Maleficent. I love those shows. But all these otherworldly beings, they radiate like a magical halo. They carry this frequency, energy, vibration. They're deflecting anyone who was curious about the seduction of it. So it's the gods of the forest. They're hugging tightly around those trees where the leaves, like you have to get otherworldly in our thought processor, really getting otherworldly. The leaves, they follow the fairy queen's footsteps. They're also beings, right? They're strolling through the forest, the old forest, the nature beings of all, the anemones, if you will, growing under her bare feet, the moss, right? So she's smiling upon them. She's actually dancing with them. And I love that we've got a new moon coming up on top of this. So I'd really be paying attention into that. But the moon sometimes can refer to our fear and our anxiety, a belief in the hallucinations, the experiences, the distortion, chasing delusions and dreams, delusional scenes. It's the other world. But it's like energetic ayahuasca. It's the paranormal, the master of the art of deception. Potential dangers exist often when we're stepping into a fairy mushroom circle, or do they? They can be easily misinformed, right? But the moon is the kingdom hidden behind the perception, the predictability in each and every event. So in the afterlife, it kind of represents fear, but full of inspiration in a very specific way, lighting the way, which kind of makes people feel easily discouraged or endangered or careless. You know, everybody's always curious about what happens in the afterlife. Sometimes it's about the unstable travelers that easily become tempted by the beings of the other world. Sometimes they can be, I don't want to say devilish, but they can be, let's be real. So they deviate us off our path into the dark forest. But if you have a strong sense of wisdom, you're going to see the point of sharpness across the blurred line in the in-between. So it's kind of a trivial temptations. And the moon's hidden away outside, you're being led to the land of the invisible mysteries and the magic, the source of the mixture of darkness and light. So it's through this space, this place, there's a secret gift of the moon. And those who truly accept and know how to accept it, it's about intuition, spiritual awareness, extraordinary imagination, the mystery and the magic, all the juice. It's not otherworldly, so I'm sticking with the positivity. I prefer to do that anyway. But your emotions, maybe they become overwhelming. No need for that. But this card actually is corresponding with Pisces and Neptune, which is creativity, intuition. Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, ruling planet, which is curious because the moon, the goddess of the night, is in the season, the ruler of Cancer. So that's kind of a topsy-turvette there. But we are in Neptune, or Neptune is in its home in Pisces. And the moon often means to be maybe deceptive. It's a yin energy. Sometimes it implies the secrets of yourself or those around you affect who you are being, like you're being hidden in a way. What happens in the moonlight, right? But on the opposing side, it also could be deception of the moon. Maybe a story that comes from a stranger, your closest friends. Maybe you're deceiving them. Deception. So if you feel you cannot trust somebody, it's likely that they are not trustworthy. This is a very intuitive card. Believe in your instincts. So if you are waiting for someone's answer, it also may take you a long time to get it. So just try to be patient. The moon, being cyclical, it ebbs and it flows. Your mood may also change continuously, day to day. But the moon being our emotional field, the tides of emotions, the waves, even oceans of emotions, the light the moon brings can really lead the way for us intuitively through this path. Our intuition is at its best now, especially when we are aware of the dangers. And then we kind of often can, I want to say, unreceive ourselves in a way against common fears. We can untangle them, which is actually helpful in creating inner strength and belief. Sometimes it's also a sign that we are straying, wandering around without a clear goal. So kind of finding our way back, our emotional field, finding a clear path, emotionally clear, the waters, going to the waters. Interesting. So I would say just be aware of your feelings, my Mongolian sister. Pretty interesting there. And this is awesome. Candy rocks. You shared the whole show. I appreciate that. Actually, so did you, my Mongolian sister. But this is for you. My hat's itching. Are you ready for this? The Magician. I love this card. Oh, I can't believe I didn't use this whole deck for the entire season of Pisces. It's my favorite kind of spiritually attuned deck, if you will, next to the Seers. But the Magician, the one that's boundaries, it's protecting our heart, the star that you are, the magic, right? Hello, the Magician. So it's time after time. The Fool drifts everywhere, and sometimes she's even like a seed floating in the wind, percolating, the swirling feather or the condensation of crystal and dust. I don't know if you can see what he's got hanging off his back there, but seeing the Magician, the Fool, quietly observes the Magician, suddenly realizing that the Magician, the stranger, who is getting along with the mysteries of the natural, the elementals, being taught, learning to successfully control the ability to purify, summon, and bind. This is really magic, right? I would call in the wizardry of a Wednesday, actually. But one day, the Fool couldn't stand it any longer, lightly gliding her fingers to touch the eyes of the Magician, which awakened with new beginnings at the moment, asking, "Who are you?" The soul turned, deep shape, jumps away, following the trail deep into the forest. This reminds me of, still I'm going back to Maleficent. It's a Maleficent day. But the animal is always wise to place itself outside of reach, right? When you're following, walking the ground with bare feet, earthing, wind blowing through the hair, sunlight flowing over the shoulder. It's all the things. White light emitting from the deer, reflecting in the green light of the plants. So it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of mocking him until all of a sudden it just disappears. And suddenly, in time and space, you might realize that you're alone, noticing something was left for you on a stone. So this is like alchemizing energy, being aware where something comes from the intangible into the tangible world, relics of elements that radiate under the sun, keeping those treasures within your hands, and at the same time praying, invoking, putting a smile on your face and allowing the energy to flow over these relics, these rituals, these items, uniqueness, creativity, skill, self-confidence, skills, using your hands, tricks, magic. Mainly it's about capturing unknown things around you. We're seeing them differently, exploiting them to become realistic, and just learning to throw invisible things into the world of material existence. It's really what's kind of happening today once I muse about it. But the magician holds artifacts that really represents all of the elementals. And you know I love the elementals, but the light of the fire in the lantern, the sound of the sea in the shell, the breath of the wind in the raven's feather, the soul of the earth in the leaves. So it's just magic, really, when you kind of see things through a different set of eyes, understanding and having an idea of what that is. But our little magician knows that he has the ability to turn all the things into reality with consciousness of our will, free will choice, the knowledge of how to control the world, alchemizing. So in the shadowscapes, if the devil is the blindly greedy being, then the magician is another kind of greed. It's a decent, clever way. The talented magician who is fluent in all the rules of life, seeing things through all of the eyes and the stages, always has a variety of tricks to achieve whatever he wants. And he's been carried along the wings, the long wings of the angel on his shoulder. That's what those are. And the evil horn of the devil on his head. So those are both good and bad sides to all things, right? So we can see he tends to use tricks for his personal purposes, and it's a demonstration of himself to gain a lot of admiration from others. He's got the tools. And on his wings, this is where I'm going with here, it reminds me of a dream catcher, actually. But there are 4 items that represent the 4 heavenly elements, the 4 of suits of the traditional light, fire, wands, the snell is the water and the cups, the feather is the swords, and the leaf is the earth or the pentacles. And I have all of these little items in my divination set, so this just brings out more clarity for myself. But just showing that he's grasped the most basic rules of heaven and earth, the 4 pillars. On his head, there is an infinity symbol. I don't know if you can see it. It's glowing above the devil's horn there. So this is just emphasizing that the knowledge is immensely broad and it's very unlimited. And on his back, again, I don't know if you can see this either, but there is a snake, an image of a snake biting its tail. And this is the Ouroboros, a symbol of wisdom in the mysterious world. It's capturing the law of circulation of life, the circle of life, and holding alchemy. So it's a lot of greatness. So the greed of the magician is expressed in how he wants to grasp the ways in which things are made in this world. Like really fine-tuning, grasping it, energy to matter. And the devil, again, is greedy due to the desire to possess available things and to control them. But the magician is greedy by making them all by himself and gaining the absolute admiration of everybody around the world. It's magic, right? So we can see it on the magician's hand. There is a sphere. I don't know. He's holding a sphere. I don't know if you can see it. That gradually appears. It's a sphere lying in a stone, a pillar also under his feet. So there's 2 spheres protected by snakes. Because of that, and it's dangerous, this protection, the magician's not foolishly looking for a way to really obtain it because the snakes are protecting it. But he's always looking for a new way to create it, to satisfy his whimsical curiosities. And what this new challenge is bringing, it's the ability to exploit creativity, power, the ability to make decisions, discipline, honing in on new skills, holiness, learning from the experiences and the mistakes. I don't believe there's such thing as a mistake. It's just an opportunity for an experience. The ability to solve problems, independence, language ability, techniques and modernity. It's our 5 senses. It's the nervous system, if you will. But it's in the constellation, it corresponds to Mercury, which Gemini, the zodiac sign of Gemini, the astrology sign, the season is what I prefer. But Mercury masters about collecting information, Mercury can go to all worlds, all realms, logical reasoning, the ability to show skills outside, the two channels of the brain, the logical and the intuitive, telepathy channels. But Gemini is full of curiosity, questioning everything, tricks, flexibility, experience, skill, dexterity. But at the same time, there's also a trick to achieve the things that you want cleverly and easily. So basically, the magician can only solve small daily problems satisfactorily with foresight and able to establish the major solid plans to go big, because this getting so immersed in all the little details. It's what am I trying to say? It'll come to me. I the multitasker kind of thing. Uh, it'll come to me. But there's a different firmness, and it's more fluid. It's not like the devil in Hades, possession, right? So if being truly determined, every wish will come true, as the meaning of the magician, being the details in the pudding, being determined. So it really means that your goals can be successful if you take full advantage of your own creativity, being in alignment with the oneness, your own creative potential. And it's time for you to fully exploit your ability without hesitation. Um, it shows that it's time to show off your skills to achieve your success. There's no reason to play small. You have a variety of things. You have an amazing way of doing things, which probably people around you can't really keep up with. The taskmaster. On the other side, if you are carrying a difficult problem, you might be able to find a temporary solution, but in the long run, it still needs more optimal solution, solution driven to solve it from the root of the problem. Seeing it with new eyes. So from there, we can walk further without fear of our past, allowing it to let go, things that hinder us from focusing and going forward. But the magician, it's this innate strong will and power that you have that resides within you, the magic that resides within you, your own starlight. So you have this abundant energy source, but have not been rationally exploiting it yet. So this is the time for your own breakthrough. It's not a time to hesitate. No need to procrastinate anymore. So if you are too concerned to skip it, it's hard to get the next opportunity. So it also shows your high concentration on an issue, but you should focus on a specific problem, clarity, to avoid making mistakes. And at the same time, showing us it's good to know a lot, but we should also find a specific field to specialize in instead of rambling, being greedy for many things, because this can lead to a pathway of, I don't want to say destruction, but we lose direction. And Mercury right now is actually in Pisces at the initiation degree, being initiated through our voice, Mercury of spirit, which is Pisces, downloading telepathy, with what you feel. What do you feel and sense the communication, or what is being communicated through the administrative channel of your mind, the solar plexus, communicating telepathically. So be a magician, alchemizing. So that was kind of a lot. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Make it a magical, I would say magical St. Patty's Day of all things. And see you on Sunday for our mystery guest, their 4 pillars. Listen to my All-Stara video. That'll be launching soon. And yeah, Ashe, thanks for tuning in, making it fun.
It's so much more raveled up in the female design that has not come to light. And that's the realm I work in, because everything else out there is actually designed for the way men think, process emotions, and we are driven by the engine room of creation, which is our uterus. And it's not very well known that we have such a deeper level of stuff that's driving us, but we need to work with that. And a lot of the time, that's not the case. And that's why we
Yes.
don't find that the things we're trying
Mm-hmm.
actually last long term. They can give us short
I
term
can in a
relief,
minute.
but we can find in, say a year
Okay.
or so,
Bye.
we're in the same place or even further back than we were beforehand.
Sometimes I feel like it's a weird paradigm that we were born into and we don't recognize it till later, like you're not aware of it, possibly. I'm just going through my own